Hey babes, welcome back to our channel. My name's Hannah.
And my name's Chastity.
Today we are going to be ranking all of our, or I shouldn't say all of Colleen Hoover's books from our favorite to our least favorite. Now, I'm gonna preface this by saying please don't get offended. There's definitely not a single Colleen Hoover book that I've read that I didn't like, but there are definitely ones that I've liked more than others, so let's just jump into it.
Yeah, for sure. Although I do want to say that we are going to be presenting the series as series. They're only going to take up one spot, and we did not include the novellas.
Yeah, and we also didn't include Never Never.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't only written by her.
Because it was a collaboration.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, our very first ones are different.
So you go ahead and start.
My favorite one is Ugly Love. I think this will always be my favorite. Like, no matter what. There's a lot of other Colleen books that came out that, like, really touched me and, like, affected me in different ways. But this one just sits reigning at number top. Number top?
Number top.
This one reigns number one for me, guys. I love Miles. I love Tate. I love the whole angsty story. I will forever love it.
And I love his backstory. We all know. I don't think I need to say again that I'm a sucker for a good backstory. So my number one is Maybe Someday. I loved this one. Now I think Ugly Love was the first one that I've ever read, but this might have been the second one. I think it was.
I think it might have been, yeah.
Or it was the other way around. It was one of the first ones that I've ever read by her, and I feel like I keep thinking that when I read each one by her, I'm gonna have a new favorite, but I don't. Ridge. I love Ridge. I love him. I don't have enough good things to say about it.
Her idea of Ridge is probably akin to my idea of Miles. It's just very high up there.
I'm obsessed with him. I'm obsessed with him. I'm obsessed with their story. We didn't mention Maybe Now in this video because she hasn't read it, and also because we're not really mentioning those.
There's Maybe Not and Maybe
I
Now,
actually haven't read Maybe Not, but I did read Maybe Now, and I loved it too. So.
Maybe Now is the only one that I have not read, and it's next on my in my pile after.
Love it, love it, love
I'm reading
it.
a Taryn Fisher book right now, and then I'm reading that one.
Right, so you.
Number two. I believe we have the same one for number two. It Ends With Us. This one, oh my goodness, I cannot say enough things about this one.
If I didn't love Ridge so much, I want to say that would be my favorite.
Yeah.
Because Atlas, oh my god.
Okay, so not only Atlas, but like, let's talk about the fact that like what Colleen did with Ryle. Like,
she shed such a different light on something that we're not gonna say because it will ruin too much.
It's a very, it's something that's not spoken about enough. Yeah. And honestly, this one gave me a little bit of a different take on it.
And the confusion that she felt, whereas typically somebody from the outside, you know what? I just think we should go ahead and mention it because I also think we should put out a huge trigger warning if you read this one. There are instances of domestic abuse. And typically I have always been the kind of person that's like, there's like no question for me. It's like, well, if he hit you, then why did you stay? Like, you're dumb. I don't necessarily feel that way anymore. I can see how there might be some confusion attached to it. She really felt like the good times way outweighed the bad times, and I see that now, and that's why I think it's something that's so important for people to read because it makes you think about things differently.
I agree. It is a book that cannot be topped. Like, in that aspect of what it shed light on is just, I mean,
I think we can both agree, like, if I didn't love Ridge so much and if she didn't love Miles so much, like, this would be our number one. Yeah. We both really loved that one.
For sure. For sure.
And it wasn't one that I was super excited to read, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I didn't think I was gonna like it.
No, you like waited till...
Yeah, it was like the last one that I read by her, and I was like, what? How did I not? It was a great book. It was.
Okay. I kind of want to reread it.
I know.
To be honest.
I think our number three is also the same.
Our number three is the same.
Our number three is Too Late. Now, this is one that is free to read, actually. Didn't she originally publish it on Wattpad? And then now it's free on Kindle. This is more, would you consider it a psychological thriller? It does have romance aspects to it.
Yeah, you know what, I would actually. It's very No, I'd consider it a psychological thriller.
Yeah,
it's very
I would not
different
call
from
it
her
a
other
romance.
writings, and that's one of the reasons why it was free and why it is. It says
Under
C. Hoover.
Hoover, yeah, because she couldn't publish it with her publishing company.
No, she didn't.
And so she had to publish it under like an alias, even though we all know that it's her. But
I'll tell you,
this messes
messed
with
me
your
up.
brain.
Messed me up.
This was so hard to get through, not because it wasn't written well, but because it was like the content of it was so difficult for me to just sit down and read. Like it really messed with my brain, and it was making me like a little, like it made me skittish when I had to read this book during the day, and it was just like, I don't even know what else to say about it.
There's a lot of harsh content.
Very, very,
so
very harsh. I guess we should put out another trigger
That's
warning.
another trigger warning. It's
Like
very different from
domestic
her other
abuse, sexual assault, drug use. There's a lot of really difficult topics.
So good.
It's so good. It's so good. This is one that like if you're not, what is that saying, the faint of heart or whatever,
Yeah.
I would really recommend this to anybody because it's not super romantic. So even if you don't like romance, I think you'll still like that one.
Mm-hmm. And I love the cover. Can we just talk about
cover is so
the cover
cool.
is different, but it's so gorgeous.
Yeah.
Look at that. It's gorgeous.
And number 4 is the same also.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is. Number 4. Verity.
Another psychological thriller.
Dude, this one. Oh my god. So you already know, if you watch the channel, you already know because we went on a whole rant about this book. Mm-hmm. This is, again, different from her other ones, psychological thriller. However, this one was released, was it released under a publishing company?
No, it was self-published, but it was published under Colleen Hoover and not C. Hoover.
So that was the difference. It was the name that was published under. However, guys, I just can't even say enough about this. This one, if I thought Too Late messed me up, like I was not prepared for Verity. Verity got me. I think
I talked about this in a video. Like I physically jumped while reading that book, and so we're not going to talk too much about it because I think I went on and on and on about it in a video. Mm-hmm. But it's terrifying. Don't read it in your bed, home alone at night.
No. I legitimately was looking over my shoulder on the way to the bathroom.
It was horrifying, but it was incredible. I want to say I rated it 4.5 instead of 5 stars.
Because of the ending, yes, I remember.
An ending, and there was a little bit of a plot hole for me. For you. And I don't know if it was intentional or not. Which is ironic because it's my number 4, and I rated it 4.5, but I also have things below it that I rated 5. But that's just because this was such a spectacularly written book. Like, I really recommend it.
Okay, so this is where I think we
I have Confess.
Okay, so my number 5 pick is All Your Perfects. This one, I ugly cried. Yeah. Ugly cried in my bed. This one hit home. It's about like the perfect marriage that starts to kind of fall apart because of a lot of different issues. There's infertility, there's, spoiler alert, cheating. This one hit home. Mm-hmm. I felt like I was reading my life, like a lot of this. I felt like I was reading my life. So
her husband has never cheated on her.
That's definitely not part.
No, not that part.
But a lot of it is very close to home, and I think it was just written beautifully, and I really, really did love the ending.
Oh my god, I know.
I think Graham is so amazing. I love him.
And she's not amazing, and that's why I appreciated it so much.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So my number 5 was Confess. This was kind of like November 9, which we're going to get to. Just a really cool concept. The idea of a confession box that he reads and makes art pieces out of was so cool. And this is something that I've never really read before, as far as a book about like an artist, like a true artist, somebody who can take inspiration from the smallest of things.
Yeah.
What was his name? Owen. I can never remember the character's name. Oh yeah, OMG, that's right.
Owen Mason Gentry.
I absolutely loved Owen, and I hate to use the word vibe, but his vibe was everything. Auburn and her backstory, once again, super, super cool.
There's such a crazy backstory there.
And there's such, like, I don't want to call it a plot twist, but there's kind of a little bit of a plot twist. You kind of learn.
It goes along with her backstory.
Yeah, she talks about how much she hates living in the city that she's in right now, but you later find out why she has to live there. This is so, so, so great.
So I'm literally just gonna pop in and say this is my number 6.
Yeah. And I will say your number 5 was my number 6 too. It is.
Yeah. So we just swapped it out.
And then my number 6 is all your perfect. So we're not gonna go into the whole spiel again.
No, we're not.
But
lucky number 7 is November 9. Totally weird.
Once again, a really cool concept for a book. It's about a couple who see each other only on November 9th every single year for 5 years. I don't want to say every single year. Don't they miss a year? No, she flies there. Never mind. They don't miss that year that I'm thinking of. Right?
No, I don't think they miss a year.
Okay.
She does fly.
Yeah. It's really kind of cool because I mentioned this in our wrap up, which I don't know which one's going up first. So Fallon and Ben, you don't see them at all. You don't hear about them at all throughout the year. Like it literally fast forward until the next year, and you kind of get to catch up with them and see how their life has been.
You find out how that past year has been through the dialogue.
As soon as the characters find out how that past year has been. It's really cool.
Yeah. I appreciated this one. I really liked the characters too. I really like the name Fallon, so
yeah. And that plot twist.
There's always a plot twist. You guys. It's Colleen Hoover. Okay, it's just it's amazing.
Yeah. So both of our number 8 is the Slam series, which we kind of mentioned before. Almost isn't fair because we don't like all 3 of them the same.
Yeah,
like I just feel like it made sense to group them all together.
It does,
especially because Slammed and This Girl are literally the same story, just told. One's told by her point of view, and the other one's told by his point of view. Point of Retreat is it a year later?
Oh girl, it's been so long since I've read it.
Yeah, I don't know, but there is a little bit of a time jump in Point of Retreat, so it is still the same people, but you get to see kind of what has happened in their life and what continues to happen in their life. This is another one that we kind of can't really talk about without spoiling something.
And I mentioned this before, I think, in the wrap up, is that it just hits on a very personal level for me. So these I read literally in a 3-day span, a book a day. I think This Girl maybe took me 2 days.
Yeah, This Girl we talked about maybe wasn't super necessary. Not bad, just not necessary.
It was Slammed was my second book I ever read by her, and I went and bought the rest of her books. Yeah. Because I was just like amazed.
It was so great. And I think we mentioned too that this is definitely one that I feel like I would recommend to somebody like in high school.
You know, it's funny because after I read this, I sent a message to Colleen on Goodreads telling her how much I loved this book and related, and she did answer me because this was like way back when. Yeah. Before she was like this huge star. Yeah. And so I always kind of fondly remember that.
So for number 9, we actually have each other's number 1. So I have Ugly Love.
And I have Maybe Someday.
Yeah. So I don't think we really need to go in and describe these again, but...
No. Yeah. I mean, I loved Rich, but I love Miles.
I liked Miles. I liked this book. It just wasn't my number 1 favorite.
Right, exactly.
I think I rated this 5 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed it.
I think it's very difficult to... This was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do.
Yeah, once again, I've literally never read a book by Colleen Hoover that I haven't liked. It's just that there's some that I like more than others. Yeah. So there's really not a lot of reasoning behind it. Just that that's what my gut told me, where my gut told me to put it in the list.
Exactly.
So our last 2 are actually the same. So for, what are we at, number 10?
Yeah, number 10.
So for our number 10,
for our number 10.
For our number 10, we both have Hopeless. This is another one that I feel like I would have liked more had I read it in high school.
This was the first one I read.
This I consider young adult, because it's about 2 kids in high school. This, however, has probably the biggest plot twist out of any of her books. Once again, rated this 5 out of 5 stars. I did not like this book. It just wasn't my favorite because I think I was a little bit too old to read it when I read it.
Alright guys, so the very last one is, and it's probably no surprise if you watched our wrap up, Without Merit. While I actually didn't like actively dislike the character or any of that, like I thought it was a quirky family. It was kind of an interesting concept to me. Especially with like the trophy buying.
Yeah, that was
I thought it was really
I feel like there's a huge lack of diversity in like hobbies for girls in novels, and I appreciated that. Yeah, I did not like this book. I I didn't like her.
Right.
I didn't like Merit, which was the problem.
I think that's what I tried to say.
Yeah. So this is the only one that I've ever rated by her like 3 out of 5 stars. I think the lowest other than that was probably like Too Late. Or not Too Late. Verity, because I rated that one 4.5. And I looked up reviews for her books, and it looks like this is just the most universally disliked book by her.
I just think I still think it's a very interesting concept, and I think maybe it makes a little bit of a difference in my mind, because when I went to meet her for It Ends With Us, she did like a Q&A, and she was writing without Merit at the time, so listening to like where the inspiration came from and what she was doing, so maybe that's why I like it a little bit more. I don't know. That could possibly
was not for me, but like I said, I didn't not like it. I would not recommend it. I just I would reread all of her other books in a heartbeat. I probably will never pick this one up again. I didn't love it.
I mean, that's understandable.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing the ranking. Although I will say, hardest thing ever.
Yes.
To rank these books, because I just like universally like her books.
I feel like I could do I feel like I could literally do maybe someday It Ends With Us, all of the other books, and then Without Merit, because I feel like all the other ones could have been kind of interchangeable.
They can fluctuate between my moods.
I like them all the same, so it feels weird that maybe like things like Ugly Love are so late or so low on the list, but it's kind of just how it all fell and where my gut told me to put it. It's not that I liked it any less than I liked Slammed or
I just think it's
Perfect.
Very interesting that our two favorites ended up swapping spots for each other. That's
it wasn't intentional. Like, I made my list, she made her list, and then we went over it together, and we didn't change anything. So it's just how that happened. And same with, like, we ranked a lot of them in the same spot, and once again, wasn't intentional. Like, we made our list separately.
Just happened.
Yeah, like, she made her list before I even got here today. So it's like, it was one of those things where it wasn't at all planned.
No. But I will tell you that I recommend any book by Colleen Hoover.
Absolutely. She's like one of my favorite authors ever.
I will forever read whatever she puts out.
Yeah. Even if you don't like romance.
Right.
Even if Too Late or read Verity, because those are both really, really, really
That's
good
what I'm saying.
books.
Like, even if she... Like, she already has ventured off, but even if she ventured off even more, I'd still pick it up.
She could write anything, and I would be like, this was great. Read it.
For real.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like she's got that talent. She's just a great writer. All right, well, that is it for us today. Thanks so much for visiting. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and turn on the notifications so that you know when we upload. And let us know in the comments if you've read any of these Colleen books or if you're interested in any of them. Alrighty, bye.